Preliminary finals, Sydney versus North Melbourne, with Eddie Maguire, Dermot Brereton, Michael Voss, Mark McClure, Jared Healy, Brad Johnson, Alistair Lynch, David King in the War Room, and John Ralph with all the news. It's Sydney versus North. Welcome to Footy's best coverage. This is prelim finals footy on Fox.
Welcome everyone, thanks to Mazda BT50. Here are the Sydney Swans arriving at ANZ Stadium. Buddy Franklin, the man who plays his 350th game, the Australian of the Year, Adam Goods, what a superstar he's been. And the man who holds all the headlines right throughout the weekend and early this week, the on-again, off-again career of Brent Harvey. He's on again tonight and he'll need to be right on for the Kangaroos to cause a major upset in the preliminary final of 2014. Thanks to Mazda BT50. You're on the home of footy, Fox Footy, as we welcome our panel tonight. Alistair Lynch, three-time premiership champion of the Brisbane Lions. Michael Voss, three-time premiership champion of the Brisbane Lions, and Mark McClure, a three-time premiership champion of the Carlton Football Club. The boys who know how to get it done at the big dance are sitting alongside me. Welcome, fellas.
How good is this? It just gets bigger every week, and we've got two super impressive teams, Vossy. I mean, obviously we've got the number one ranked team after the home and away season, the Sydney Swans. They got their best 22 players out there against North Melbourne, an emerging power, if you like, six on the trot, and they're full of confidence.
Yeah, Sydney are a super side, we know that. If there's one thing that North can't afford tonight is give away multiple goals in a row. If momentum swings against them, they won't wrestle it back. They had it against Essendon, they were able to fight their way back. They were able to get the start that they needed last week against Geelong, and they just hung on. But if they present that this week, then they'll just get rolled by a very good football team.
Round 4 was the last time they played, and they had in the side Derricks, Lewis Roberts Thompson, and O'Keefe. And most of them aren't there anymore, so that was against them. They had 30 contested possessions against him, intercept possessions against him in that game from the half-back. So that won't happen. Now they've got Buddy, they've got Tippett, and they've also got Goods. It's a little bit of difference between the three.
Yeah, it was 43 points by way of North Melbourne on that occasion in Sydney in the wet. It's been a bit of wet conditions up in Sydney during the week. Let's go up there to find Dermot Brereton, the five-time premiership champion of the Hawthorn Football Club, and of course Brad Johnson, 364 games and knows what it's like to play in September in preliminary finals. Boys, first of all, the weather conditions, and welcome tonight to what's going to be a classic game of football. The winner goes through to the grand final.
Evening Ed, evening guys, evening Jono. It's actually turned out a pretty nice day here. It's perfect conditions right now.
It is, it's absolutely fantastic. Remember back to round 23 it was when David King was out here walking around. It was that sloppy underfoot here at ANZ Stadium. I can tell you right now, this ground is in the best condition that I've seen it in some time. It's starting to get a little bit dewy underfoot, but outside of that, that's just because of the pure conditions we have here.
I'd go as far to say that it's actually in the best condition I've seen this ground. It's a little bit patchwork quilty, but the surface is quite solid. It will hold. We're just in this spooky part of the ground. I've got a feeling Cyril might have done his hamstring in his pocket, but he's done it in a few spots here.
You and Cyril do. We'll worry about that tomorrow when the Hawks play. But one player I'd like to talk about as well is Kane Turner, youngest player in the competition at the moment, and his last two efforts last week in the tight game against the Cats were sensational. And to me, Dermot's natural instincts that take over in this time of the game, and for him to absolutely put his head in the hole for one and then lay the big smother there on Selwood was great for a young player in the comp.
He's just a really good scrapper, isn't he? Yeah.
Thanks, boys. We look forward to coming back to you a little bit later in the build-up to tonight's preliminary final between the Sydney Swans and North Melbourne. Let's go to the newsroom now. It's been a big day for news. Before we get into all the stuff at Essendon, Ralphie, what have you got for us on tonight's preliminary final?
Hello, Ed. No changes for either side on a spectacular night for football out at ANZ Stadium. So much suggestion around that potentially Joel Tippett might come into the North Melbourne side to play on his brother Kurt. That has not happened, so both sides unchanged. Craig Bird is the sub for Sydney, and Ryan Bastanak has built a nice little niche as the sub. He is the sub again for North Melbourne.
Good on you, mate. We'll come back to you, Ralph, in a few moments' time to go through what has been a massive day of news in football. Johnny Ralph's got everything and that'll come up in a few moments' time. For Microsoft Surface Pro 3, time to go to the war room, and it really is a war room tonight because we've got a North Melbourne champion and a Sydney Swans champion. The two-time premiership star from the Kangaroos, David King, and the Brownlow medalist from the Sydney Swans, Jared Healy. Good evening, boys. Welcome. This is going to be a ripping game tonight.
Oh, it'll be a belter, Ed. There's no doubt about that. I think that the Kangaroos coming in for mine, able to play with some freedom, have a bit of fun, not so much fun, Jerry, but really play with some extravagance and try and pinch a result. It's against all odds for me. They need someone to really bob up and have some sort of game, one out of the box, a Kuta-like game, which we'll touch on later on.
Well, they've got the chemistry right for mine there, the Kangaroos, and they're the big improvers right now. Haven't lost for 6 weeks. If they go on again and if they improve again through this week, then I think there'll be some nervous moments for my old club. And Kingy, well, he's got the war paint on right now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. They've got the Bondi billionaires up there, but the extravagance of North Melbourne, if they can play like millionaires, you never know, boys. Just throw caution to the wind and have a real go. Speaking of which, let's have a look at the finals history between these two sides.